is missing. So by the last, as we go recap our last meeting, when we agreed on the wording of the placing the ad, the chair, Ms. Fullett, asked me to send the email to DCAS and Mr. Whitman at DCAS, and I asked him if he
Simon,
could
let me
please.
interrupt you for a little bit.
Sure, sure.
Let me just say this. So, Sonia, will you be able to host?
Yes, I will.
Okay, let's let Joanna explain the process of getting the finances to pay for the advertising, and then we can let Sonia be the host, and then Joanna can leave. Thank you. Is that all right with everybody?
Yes.
Yeah, but we're not discussing. Well, okay. Well, you mean the conflict of interest? That's why, Chair.
What?
That's why she's leaving because of conflict of interest.
Yeah, you know, she always leaves, so I want her to explain the different aspects of putting in to get this money to pay for the ad, and then she can let
Okay,
let
so let me
Sonia host.
let me just speed it up very fast. I'll just give me 1 minute, okay? So let's go back. Let's go backwards. So then we'll talk about this letter from DCAS in a few minutes. But let's just recap what happened in the last meeting. The general board meeting. There was issue came up about paying for certain services at the community board, and there was an issue about getting a signature, and that came up the issue about who's going to pay for the advertisement in the certain newspapers or wherever it's been advertised. So that's why Joanna sent some emails, and she's going to explain the process. It's how it could be paid. Okay, so Joanne will take the floor.
Thank you. So I reached out to Greystone to find out their vendor number because we needed to find out in what system they were, and we found out today that they're in the Passport system, which is the one that we had trouble with the two staff members not being here. I reached out to Mox, which is Passport, and asked them if they will be able to assist us with that. If I was to do the purchase order, can they approve it? I'm still waiting for them to answer. As for that, the code that we're going to be using is 417, and that is for advertisement. But there is no money in that code. In order for us to be able to put money in that code, we need to do a mod. The money needs to be moved from a different code that has money. For that mod to be done, it has to go through the board budget committee for approval, for them to approve that they're going to allow us to move money, and as well for them to tell us what code they want us to use to put the money into 417. Once that's done, I will be able to, once the money is in the code, I will be able to contact the vendor and start the process of the purchase order if the Passport team will be able to assist us by approving it.
Joanna, is
Yes.
there any other vendor that does advertising that's in the other system? Did anybody
That
look that
is,
up?
this is the one that Brooklyn Borough or I think was suggesting. I don't know of another vendor.
This is the one we researched, and Brooklyn Borough Hall gave us this vendor.
Right, and they have a contract with the city, so that's the important part. That usually the city wants us to use people that have contracts with them.
No, I get that, but I'm saying there has to be other contractors of the city that may use the other program that does not require both signatures. I mean, that's a thought.
This is the one that Borough Hall recommended.
No, I get that, but I'm saying
any
it's a recommended or suggestion, but I'm saying in terms of what we could do for now, they're not going to help us with the other signature.
well,
This is the only one they gave us.
can Borough Hall weigh in on how to help us?
Previously we have the water cooler here, and that is through Passport system, and we reached out to Brooklyn Borough Hall to help us because Passport said they would not be able to approve us. So we asked Brooklyn Borough Hall if they could approve it, and they said no, they couldn't do it. So I went back to past support, and I kept telling them that Marie was out and she wouldn't be able to do it. Even with Jerry here, it wasn't able to move on. So I went on to tell them that Jerry had retired. And then finally they said, we're going to do this for you one time. And they recently approved the water cooler. So this is why I'm asking them if they could do this again. If they say yes, then we don't have an issue. So I'm waiting for them to answer my email. Um, but we need to have the money in that code in order to move on. That is the number one step. Moving the money to 417, knowing where the money is gonna come from, and if it goes through, it has to go through the board budget for the approval.
And how long can they take? What do you estimate?
We have
Uh,
no idea.
of the approval of once I make a budget mod, it's just sent to OMB. OMB moves the money. That is that doesn't take that long. Usually a week or maybe a few days. It just depends on if they're able to take it right away. It's just the approval of the purchase order, because I could do the purchase order, and that is what we will be waiting on if they're able to approve it. If they do approve it, sometimes it only takes 2 days to go through the system.
And where will they advertise? Actual, where will that be advertised?
That is the Greystone. I think that was Mr. Weiser. That was a conversation you had with Greystone, right? About advertising. Yeah.
They gave us two locations. Two locations, but I think right. But the ad you sent me today had some different names, newspapers. No, you sent me some. David, you saw they mentioned some other papers. No,
I didn't understand that the email.
did you see that? That they sent us.
Was it the email that I sent with the contract, or
All the information from this company, this Greystone, yeah.
what they sent was just I was asking for the contract that they have with the city. That was what's in that contract. The information they gave you, that's what you should be going by, what they're gonna post it. The other information in that contract might apply to a different agency.
Wow.
I just needed that contract to have it on the file, a copy of it.
So we got a quotation from them about advertising on Indeed for, it's a New York City rate is $422, and the open rate was $400. These are less. Interesting. And for ZipRecruiter was $299 and $67 for New York City. So I don't understand.
But that was determined by the days. Didn't they have the days on that sign?
So yeah, all have 30 days. Yeah. But the chair mentioned that we should advertise in the local newspapers that do it for free. The chair mentioned the Greenpoint, the Brooklyn papers. The chair mentioned some papers advertise for I think you said for free.
Simon, again.
Yep.
For free, you get nothing. Those for pay, which papers will be advertised? Do you have a name of a paper? New York Times, Daily News, Wall Street Journal? Where are they advertising? Again.
Okay, excuse me, David, but
Yes.
does anybody have any more questions for Joanna?
I do. Joanna, when you say the board budget, is that Maria Vieira's committee you're talking about?
Yes, that is
So-
the committee. In the past, anything that had any purchases, anything that needed to be done, it will go through the purchase, through the board budget for them to approve, and then Jerry will come to me and say it's approved, and then I will be able to do that mod, and we'll be able to send it to OMB once it was approved. So this is why I need the board budget to approve it. That way I could do the mod and send it to OMB.
So that means that she would, if we can do this, that means that Maria would have to be told, and then I guess she would have to call maybe an emergency committee meeting just for this one item.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Not
And,
just, and also deciding what code they want to use. I could tell them which ones they have money and which ones we use, but they have to be the ones to decide which one they wanted the money to go to. Yeah.
okay, my question is, was the original budget when she had the meeting, I was at the meeting, was it determined what was left and what can be allocated to this? John, you were in the meeting. John, are you okay?
Did you, is that my name you was mentioned?
Yes, honey, are you okay?
No, I've been in a serious accident.
Oh, I'm so
So
sorry,
I'm
my God. I'm
here.
looking at you now, and remember
Right.
the board, the
I
budget meeting. You're on that
just
committee,
got out
right?
of the hospital yesterday, so 10 days. But I
Sorry to
couldn't imagine a
hear.
better place to be than to be with you all.
Uh-oh.
What
But
happened?
have a speedy recovery, darling. But you on the budget committee, right?
I am, and I can talk to Maria. So either
Well,
way,
I have a question for Joanna.
Yes.
So, because understanding the process, is there money left in the budget? Because
Yes. There's money in the budget that could be used. There's money right now in 10X, which is a storehouse that is in Passport, which is going to be hard to use if we don't have two approvals. I like I mentioned before, they said they were going to do this water cooler rental for me that time for the purchase order. I'm hoping they're going to do this for the advertising, but I don't know if they're going to do this storehouse,
wait,
which
who's
is
they? Who's they? You talking about?
this is Passport, the Passport, the
Spell this word
Passport.
passport. Spell it.
Passport.
Oh, passport. Okay. So let's get it clear. Okay, we talk in numbers. How much money is left in this budget that we have this year? I mean, we have enough. Like, what number are we talking about? To understand how much we could spend. How much money is left in the budget?
There's enough money, about 9, but I would suggest for you to
How much?
discuss this where 9,465.
The thing
Okay.
is, Simon, it has to be moved from one code to another code.
It's
Okay.
in
Code of
different
advertising,
codes.
there's no money in it, so we gotta get approval to move it from one code to
Okay.
another.
So understand. And you mentioned before, once the committee recommends this, it goes down to Border Hall or it goes to OMB.
It goes to me for me to make a mod, which is a piece of paper that I have to put the codes on,
How you spell
and
mod? How you spell mod?
MOD, budget mod.
Mod. A budget mod.
So
Okay.
it's just a modification.
Modification,
It's a
right.
modification
Ah.
of the budget.
Okay.
And then I will send it to Jay from OMB
Okay.
for them to move the money into the code. Once that's done, I could go on to do the purchase order. And
I mean, we have Jay on board. Jay wants to help us all the time. So we have Jay. Jay's very helpful. He's gonna approve it. What's the problem? So we just have to ask to call an emergency meeting for the budget committee, right?
No, Simon,
No.
Passport has to agree to do this with only one signature.
Oh,
That's
that's what
what-
it is.
That's what Joanna's waiting. She's waiting for them to respond to her request.
So passport is that's by City Hall. Who's that? Who takes care of that?
that's the mayor's office, Mox.
So to clarification, what did the councilman say he would help us? What did he say about the meeting? He said something about he could use his help, his office. Chair, can you help us out? What the councilman was saying he was going to help us? Which point?
The thing is, Simon, this is as far as we can, we've done the research. This is the process that we have to go through with. If we can't get it through this process, then we can go to ask the council to help us with the other system that they use. But, we already spoke to Jay email, and this is the procedure. We have to get approval from the board budget committee to let Joanna go in and move this money from one code to that code. Then we send it into OMB, they move the money, and then Joanna do the request, and we send the request. This is the process. The only thing we gotta do is get approval from the budget board members.
No, we also have to get Passport to agree to take one signature. And I
Right,
thought,
but that's what I'm saying. What we have to do is get approval from the board budget to put in the information. Then we got to get all these other approvals.
so, but Lincoln didn't, I believe Lincoln said that he was willing to try to help us out with Passport. I don't know what he can do, but I guess it's worth asking him, what can he do to help us get, to be able to do this through Passport with one signature?
But what I'm saying is, he can't help us until we do what we have to do. If they deny us, then we can go to Lincoln. But this is the process that we have to do. This is our next step. So we got to get
Isn't it-
approval so OMB can move the money. Once the money is in the proper code, then we can put in the paperwork to get it approved. And if we
I
don't
can't-
get it approved, then we can go to Lincoln.
That's good. But can't they have like one of the executive officer or even Maria be a second signature as the budget board chairperson? They ever
No, it has
tried
to be
that?
a staff member. We asked that. Technically, it has to be a staff member.
Oh, I see.
Ressler did say that his office is willing to try to put some pressure on the city to help us to be able to somehow get to be able to use Passport if Passport sticks to their guns and says, no, you have to have 2 staff members' signatures.
Right, and we don't. So this is the process that we're told that we have to do. We have to get approval from the budget committee to move money to another code. Once we get the money moved, then we can put the paperwork in and get it approved. If we don't get it approved, then we can go to Lincoln because we will have exhausted our options.
Well, Joanna has already asked people at Passport to give us another exception. She's just waiting for them to respond. Joanna has already done that.
Yes, but it would be good to, I could right now, if the money was in the code, I could right now have the purchase order done and ready to go for the Passport team to approve
Sure.
it if they say yes. If this is what takes time, moving the money and then going back and forth with the vendor, and doing the PO is what takes a long time to do. So if this could get started and the board budget will say yes, at least to just having the money move and if it's in that code now, if I get started and they say tomorrow, yes, we could do it, then I could just submit it and they will be able to just approve it.
Very
But if-
quickly, before you move the money,
Right.
if it's going to be on the board budget, wouldn't it require also a full membership vote? I mean, a full board vote to agree to this modification?
Right now, I think we just need a vote from the budget committee to move the money.
No, usually
Yeah.
I think that they made an agreement, something about 500 and under,
Right.
in the past, and this is supposed to be, for what I read, it right, it's $400, or it's under 500. So if it goes to the board budget, they could vote on it.
Oh, great. Thank you, Joanna.
Yeah,
Oh,
because
so
if we're
Maria
spending
needs
over
to-
500, then we got to get approval from the board.
Right. So Maria needs to be notified right away, and then she needs to try to have a meeting, for this one item as quickly as possible. Right?
Okay, so-
I'm asking actually.
Yes, yes. So everybody understand the process?
Yes.
Yes, thank you.
So, well, no, having said that, Joanne, could you send the email, or the chair should? I mean, sorry, the chair should Joanne send the email to Maria to set up a meeting, emergency meeting? What's the process,
Well, Jan
Chair?
said she was going to talk to Maria, but
Yeah, Jan-
I can send her an email and ask her to call a meeting ASAP. But I'm wondering
Right.
if an email to her committee would suffice if they would agree to moving the money.
Why not?
I'm just
Jan, you're on the
wondering.
committee.
Why not?
Jan, you're on the committee. She could.
Just a reminder that
People don't care about these kind of small things.
right,
Come
but
on.
they still have to decide what code they're taking the
Right,
money
I'm
from.
agreeing, but we should just move it now.
I mean, you know, the truth is this is going on for so long, and I mean, I mean, I would love to see this already posted.
I,
You
I,
know, it
I'm,
should,
I'm sorry, Mr. Weiser, but I will not do it without the approval
no,
from the board budget. I need approval from them for me to be able to do a mod.
So how about if Maria speaks to Joanna, gets an idea of where the money is, and then Maria can suggest to the committee what code to use. And then
Exactly. I feel like, you know, she's gonna have to talk to Joanna so she will understand the process.
yes,
And then I feel like if she send an email to her committee and tell them what money's in what code and how the process work, and would they agree to move the money, you know, by yes, you know, they confirm her email, you
yes,
know,
I
but
agree.
we can't do it without the board budget approval.
I agree. And Jan and I are both on that committee. It sounds to me like,
Oh, yeah, Del, yeah, sorry, Del.
it sounds to me like, Jan, I certainly would be willing to just, you know, go with whatever Maria is suggesting. It sounds to me like, Jan, you're going that way too.
I agree, yes.
Yeah, so we can just get this done. If just Maria needs to talk to you, Joanna, and then you can she can come back, and she has a sense of it. She's the chair, you know, we respect her.
She's
And then
very
she can
good.
suggest to us, and she can suggest to us which code to use.
I will give her a call. I will
Great,
call her.
that's great. This should be.
Okay, thank you, Joanna. So we're clear on this step. So, Sonia, you'll be able to host. Thank you, Joanna.
Yes,
Have a good
I
evening.
will.
Get home safe.
Thank you.
Thank you, Joanna.
You're welcome. I'm gonna pass it over to you.
Thank you. Mhm.
Dan, what happened? What kind of accident did you have?
I don't think you'd believe it if I tell you, but I ziplined on my granddaughter's zip line in the backyard of my
What?
son's
wow.
house, in her new house.
What?
I got a little carried away on Thanksgiving of trying to prove I still had it. But let's just put it this way. I am a very fortunate person because I have broken rib, broken back, broken scrotum, but I'm walking around and all I have to do is wear this neck thing for a month or so. And let's just say I was told, Dallas, it was a miracle. If you are people who believe in miracles, my fall from the strap broke on
Huh?
the zip line. And anyway, so and I went to a wonderful hospital out here in Pennsylvania. So that I have very, let's just say this is a very celebratory holiday for me because it is a miracle.
Wow.
Yeah.
We wish you a speedy recovery,
Yeah,
Jan, and
absolutely.
glad that you took the time
Wow.
and
Yes.
sat down with us.
Superwoman.
Yes.
That was
Your mood is
superwoman
still here.
stuff,
Your
Jan.
mood is still as young as can be.
What?
Wow.
Your mood, your good sense of humor, and your good mood.
Well,
and
I keep
smile. It's
all
still
you
here.
could do is that when you had a whole hospital in the trauma unit all coming because they wanted to see the older woman that had ziplined and was in the room, and everybody came to peek at me around the door, you had to have a sense of humor. And then
Wow.
when I, of course, realized what could have been, I got a bigger sense of humor. So thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Healthy.
Sorry you had an accident, but we wish you a speedy recovery.
Thank
And
you.
we're
Yeah.
gonna let Simon get along with the meeting so we don't keep you too long before you get uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Madam Chair, excuse me, guys. We're gonna stop the recording, right? Or we're gonna?
Yes,
Yes. Okay.
thank you.
So let's